And now, the Mary D. Welch Show featuring Mary D. Welch.
Hello, everybody. Hi. We're back on another beautiful Monday. Here we are again. I tell you, I'm so excited today. We have a special guest with us. Many of you, if you're a fan of the Have and the Have Nots, and I'm a fan. My husband, we very rarely, I think we've seen every episode. So when you see someone from the Have and the Have Nots and they're able to come on as a guest, I mean, I had to calm my emotions down. You know what I mean? So some of you know him, and some if you haven't seen the Have and Have Nots, you will after today. Today, our special guest is Keith Burke. He is the man that plays opposite Crystal Fox on the Have and Have Nots, and he is the gentleman that was her boyfriend, more than a friend, but just somebody that has been really been on the show. I think about 4 or 5 years in his character. And so I'd like to introduce to you this wonderful, wonderful gentleman, a wonderful actor and a wonderful person, Mr. Keith Burke. Keith, are you there?
I'm there. I'm here.
Welcome. And so Oh, I'm sorry. You were saying?
Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here to talk about the show and to talk about my character. This has been such an amazing journey and such a cool ride, such a fun ride. So thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, I know we know we're going to get to the show, but I want to first. I always try to let the audience know about you. You're
Okay.
not a California native.
I'm not. West Philadelphia, born and raised, as I always say, and a proud Philadelphian. Born in the heart of West Philly, and I've been out here now in California for 25 years. And so I've spent a significant amount of my time and amount of my journey in California, and it's been really cool. It's been eye opening, and I'm just so grateful I had the courage to make my way out here.
Oh, I mean, I have, as I shared with you, I have a girlfriend from Philadelphia, and she would tell me all
Mhm.
about pictures and all the good and the bad. I'll put it like that. But
Oh
she
yeah,
came, and she
absolutely.
never went back either. she,
Well, I mean, that's the key, right? Is like wherever you're from, unless what
Mhm.
you do or want to do, aspire to do with your life, you can do from that place, and you happen to love your city that much, then you have to go
Mhm.
where the opportunities are, wherever they may be. And I think that that's what I understood. The great thing about Philly, is yes, it can be a meat grinder, and there's some tough streets, and all of that. But I think that Philly has so much heart. We're solid people. The culture in terms of the arts and entertainment is rich. And so, there's a lot to live up to. I think when you're an artist from Philly, you feel obligated to really put your best foot forward. I think we hold each other accountable in that city in a way that I haven't seen other cities quite do in the same way. So I'm a proud Philadelphian all day. And I do go back to visit and spend time with my family. But yes, LA is my home now.
Okay, all right. I know. As I mentioned, I've been there, and it was it 2 years ago. We just walked through this because you can walk and see so many landmarks when you go and just walking
Right.
because it's
Historical.
such a
Right.
very historical city. And then I'm a retired educator, history teacher, as a matter of fact. So when I go to a city like that, you can.
Oh, one of my favorite subjects, actually. I love history. It was one of my favorite subjects. I promise you that. I really do. I'm fascinated by the history of this country, the history of the world, and also taking you back to where we come from and the fact that most of us were already here. So I mean, there's just so many things that history teaches you if you're a student of it, and it
Mhm.
empowers you. The more you know about history, the more you know about yourself. So that's a wonderful and noble profession.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I tell you, but I look at it I don't want to get political, but what's going on now is history.
Right.
As we're
Absolutely.
experiencing today is history. People don't understand this is what will be in the books for our generations to come. But
Right.
stay on topic here. So well, let me ask you this. Will you, I know you, like you said, you're Philadelphia born and raised.
Yes.
Did you consider acting like going as you were going through the educational system? Was that something you were, you know?
Honestly, it was something that, and I've told this story many times, but I'll get to the point. My mother told me I was going to be an actor when I was 9 years old. I don't know why. I think I was like, I used to do those like those church plays when you're a little kid in
Mhm,
Sunday school for Easter and all of that stuff, right?
mhm.
And
Yeah.
I had this knack for being able to memorize everything on the page, my lines, your lines, everything. And
Ooh.
again, I didn't even know at that point in time that acting was a profession. But I remember
Mhm,
hearing that one of my neighbors had moved to LA to become an actor. And then I started to find out what acting was all about. But my journey in the Philadelphia Boys Choir and traveling and having an opportunity to meet different entertainers throughout my travels allowed me to understand a lot further what the business of acting was all about. But I was so pro sports that I just kind of dismissed it and figured maybe one day it might be something I'd try.
mhm,
But as I started going through high school and then on, I started getting more drawn into just the whole entertainment aspect of life. And then I did a play, and it changed everything for me. I was like, you know what? The only thing stopping me from doing this is fear. It had nothing to do with the other things that I wanted to do as much as it had to do with the fear of rejection, the fear that I was
yep,
dreaming too big. I'm from Philly. How am I going to get all the way to Los Angeles? Yes, I know someone else did it, but like because in my generation it's Will Smith, and I,
mhm,
got that's how I ended up out here based on a connection to Will Smith and being able to come out, go to NBC, and have an opportunity to stand by shadow and watch how things work. But the thing that I was told was, if you're serious about this, you just got to pick up and come out. 6 months later, I'm out here, and it empowers me. So I think it's important that we
mhm.
understand that when you're in a position, sometimes giving back is just giving uh, a positive word to someone that's maybe on the fence and you may
Mhm.
not know it about wanting to attempt something. And Will was very gracious. I was his stand-in for Men in Black, the first one, when they shot out here in LA with Tommy Lee
Mhm.
Jones, and I actually was able to get my SAG card because that made me eligible. So I always give
Okay.
Will Smith his props, and will always
Oh,
continue to thank him for the opportunity that he gave me when I first touched down in Los Angeles.
well, that's wonderful. That's a wonderful story. I've always heard really positive stories about Will Smith. Not that I've ever met the
Yeah.
man, but but it's always been every time I've heard a story, it's always been a good one. Of
Yeah.
he always wants to
Nothing,
help.
nothing but positive. Yeah, I mean, just
Yeah.
somebody who embodies that. And I think that you can,
Mhm.
beyond that, I'm not, I have no interest in someone's, I don't look at the bad and all that. Like I never saw that. So there's nothing for me
Right.
to talk about. All my interactions with Will, and I always see that he had an environment of positive people. He had an environment where everybody was happy to be working. Everybody was empowered because of the opportunity that they were taking advantage of. And what I
Right.
learned from that was to strive for that in all that you do as you move forward, move up, however you want to phrase it or frame it, to continue to
Mhm.
try to be more positive, to continue to do your best to empower others along the journey too. So
Mhm.
that's all I mean, that's the long and the short of my memory of that in terms of Will.
Mhm.
And then once I got here, you're like, okay, you hit the ground running. Now the hustle
Yeah.
begins. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, that's how I ended up in Los Angeles.
Well, I can't imagine this. Well, I can't imagine because I know people that are actors, and it's a
Mhm.
grind, hustle. It's a never ending, from what I know. But at the same time, if you're not determined, you can't make it in that. Well, that's like in we'll say in any field. It doesn't have to be acting. You have to be determined. So
Absolutely,
you
you
stood and you
do.
stood the course. Hmm.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think the thing with acting that sometimes can put people off is that level of patience. In other words, you don't get involved in acting in the sense think and then judge yourself 3 4 months later or 6 months later going, well, I haven't made any money yet, how am I going to do this? The idea
Right.
is, like any business that you want to start, like you could be working for
Mhm.
post office, you could be working for anybody, and say, in my spare time, I'm going to try to figure out how to get this business off the ground. You have to see acting as a business, as your own personal business. And this is what I've learned through trial and error. I didn't come into the game knowing this. This is what I've learned through my trials and my errors. And what you have to ultimately do is you come in with an understanding that this is my personal business, and let me start to build from there. Let me have the patience and set realistic goals. And by that, I don't mean that you shouldn't aim high. I'm saying set things
Mhm.
that you can get done so that you can actually see your progress. It's important to do that in anything that you do, or you just feel like you're spinning your wheels. So if you
Right.
set goals and you're able to check in about those goals on a regular
Mhm.
basis from weekly to
Uh-huh.
monthly to yearly and see where you are, it allows you to make the adjustments that you need. And then you can see it as a viable business and not feel like you're just this cog in a wheel that's caught up in the spokes because you're trying to find your way to the center. It's like, no, this is my business, this is what I love, and I'm gonna find a way, okay, to supplement my income as I go through this journey until I'm able to live off of what I'm doing, essentially. But
All
yeah, it
right.
takes patience and it takes determination.
Well, I know too, so many actors, like you said, they supplement. You hear about waiting on tables, or you hear about the waiter, waitress, whatever it takes. But this is what I think.
Absolutely.
You have to, like you said, you have to give everything to this. You can't just give bits and pieces of,
Absolutely.
or you're not gonna
No.
you're not gonna make it. It's a all or nothing. Is what I say. It's an all or nothing thing. So, but I
It
do.
it is. It truly is.
So I know too. You said in Philadelphia there was you started in the theater. Am I correct?
Freedom Theater. Freedom Theater. And that was founded by Walter John Allen. Forgive me. And the creative director at the time was Walter Dallas. And it was just an amazing environment. Erica Alexander came out of Freedom. It was just a really great time to be a part of something that was so empowering and such a movement and such an act made the art so accessible. That's why I first really discovered the plays of August Wilson and fell in love with the whole idea of just how his writing, it just was so amazing to me and so empowering and so vivid. And I love that these films are being made now about his work. I actually named my son August. My youngest son's name is August, and it was inspired by August Wilson. That's how much I love his work. So and then the fact that I'm born in August, so I mean it kind of worked both ways. So
Okay.
yeah, it was pretty cool. But I love the theater. I feel like that's the foundation a lot in terms of the roots of acting and art. But because acting on stage and of
Mm-hmm.
course television and film, they're definitely different genres, and so
Mm-hmm.
there's different technique, but the heart of character development and discovery I found
Right.
to be the strongest when you develop that in the theater.
Oh, well, the one thing about the theater, you don't get to stop and say, okay, we're gonna do another take.
Right. Oh, absolutely. You do not. It's a one shot deal. People believe you and they let you know, or they don't believe you and they let you know.
I know. I am a theater buff. I'm one of the people. I love theater. I always have. I
Yeah.
hate that go right now, but that's
Right.
gonna end. It's not. This is not forever.
Ab-
That's what I will say.
Absolutely. No, we just have to be patient and just keep putting our best foot forward.
I understand. I understand. I know you. Now you, in addition to, like you said, you've worked with Will, and now and different projects and things like that, and then to
Hmm.
get the role with Derek on Tyler Perry. What was that like?
Oh my goodness. Okay. So I mean, yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing for me because up until that moment, up until that opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
most of the time, the longest I had spent on a show was maybe a week, 2 weeks. And what was really awesome is it was just everything happened so fast that I didn't even have time to even know what I was getting involved in. In other words,
Mm-hmm.
like I got the audition like you normally do, and
Mm-hmm.
it was a self tape. I put myself on tape.
Mm-hmm.
That day, I got a call saying that I had a call back tomorrow, and there was going to be a few of us there, and that Crystal Fox was going to be there, and because she was in town doing something for OWN, and then so they were going to get kind of a chemistry read to see who kind of worked well together, who had chemistry. And I had never had that opportunity. I'd never had a chemistry read. I had never had, an opportunity to do something like that. So I was excited, excitedly terrified, but ready to go,
Right.
And from the moment I got there, Crystal was just like so giving and just so amazing and so accommodating and just such a, empowering kind of a, spirit in regards to how she approached making sure that, I'm sure with everyone, but she made sure I felt very comfortable. And she was just like, because they gave us a few minutes, to kind of go through it,
Right.
and then without anyone in the room. And we went through it a couple
Oh.
times. So then the casting came back in and we went through it. And I was nervous when casting came back in. So, I kind of flubbed the line and I was just like, and Crystal just stopped everything. And she was like, hold on. I need you to do this the way you just did it when everybody wasn't in the room. Now, you got this, man. Let's go. Now, come on. Who does that? Who does that?
Oh, that is so sweet.
Just such a, kind heart. And so I'm always going to be appreciative of that kind of favor in such an amazing situation. And so we got through that. And then I left and I felt good about everything. And I said, I just have to let it go. Once you leave that room, you have to let it go. But in your mind, you're like, oh, Lord, please give me this opportunity. Please give me this opportunity because this is such an amazing opportunity. And I got the call like maybe, I don't know, 3 hours later, 4 hours later. Was it that day? No, it was the next day. I got a call the next afternoon that I got the role. And initially, I was supposed to do 12 episodes. They said, but if the chemistry and things work out, and they move at a very fast pace. So they said, if you can handle the pace that we move, then there's an opportunity to continue on with the role. And so at last count, I was at like 48 episodes. So it went from 12 and I ended with 48. So I'm very blessed and very grateful, to everyone involved. From the day I got to the set, Mr. Perry was very, very kind and very, just very much the same spirit, empowering, like, let's go do this. You got it. And it just really gave me the confidence. And then the cast itself was like this huge family that was already in place. And they were gracious enough to kind of open their ranks and allow me in. And they accepted me and took me on as one of the family. And so like my time shooting in Atlanta and just, the time that I had with my castmates was just wonderful. It felt like a family that you were just working with. And it allows you to move a lot quicker. So I think when people get along, they really push and help one another. And that was the environment from hair and makeup to the sound. Like everybody just was it was really an ensemble kind of feel where everybody just worked really hard together. So I was really blessed to have that as my first major opportunity.
It sounds like it's wonderful. Just to be on, I can't even imagine at Tyler Perry Studios, but that must even feel like, because which soundstage were you on?
Yeah.
Different ones or the same one?
The new ones, and they were still building when I got there. Everything wasn't, the new one, the brand new one. And so they were just really finishing up. Not even, like just the area that we were going to be shooting. As a matter of fact, we went on hiatus after a month for a couple of weeks while they finished up this house that they were finishing. And so like but to see this and to know that a Black man was running the show, and to know that at one time that same land was used to keep slavery alive, and to be able to take that back, to be able to take that and use it for the greater good, and at the helm was a man of color. It was it was just the greatest feeling, the most empowering, the most inspiring feeling I had ever experienced in terms of entertainment, hands down.
I can't even imagine, because when I, keeping up with Tyler Perry's story of the homelessness and the struggle and everything he went through, and how he, at his last, I guess what he said was going to be one of his last productions, I think it was in Chicago, and it was like during a storm or something. And he said, I'm going to put this makeup on and I'm going to do this show. Because before this, there'd only been like 25 people in the audience. And he looked out the window and the line was wrapped around the block. And he couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe it because now he knew he would have the money to keep going. And it just tells you, I mean, even
Right.
that he was going to give up, I doubt that he was, because it was in him, to keep working and to keep going.
Right.
And what's the word? Keep grinding, as we said. But I've never met the man.
Right. And I think we all experience that. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
we all experience that. I think the thing that when you're in close proximity of someone who's managed to turn their situation around in that way, to have the level of faith that he clearly has, it takes that. It takes it takes an extraordinary amount of faith in yourself and your
Yeah.
ability, but it also takes extraordinary amount of belief in however you say, the creator, the universe, however whatever name you attach to it. But there's a level of faith that goes beyond you, because that's the only thing that'll sustain you when
Right.
you looking around the block and no one's outside. That's the only
Exactly.
thing that'll allow you to see that I've done it. I've taken this as far as I can go. And
Right.
then when you let go, the line wraps around the block. But you got to let go, and you have to have done and exhausted everything that you can. Then
Yeah.
once you've done that, then you got to let go, put the makeup on, and get on stage. The end. I mean, never a better analogy on how to, the mindset that it takes to survive this industry, to survive this journey of life. Sometimes is we just got to get up, do our best, and then
Right.
let it go with faith
Yeah.
that it'll sustain us one way or the other. And I think that's a great testament to where he is, and that's why he's a billionaire now, and that's why he has his own studio. And at the end of the day, all we can do is look at that as an example,
Yeah.
and just continue to believe in our vision and our journey, and how we want our legacy, what we would like to leave. And it's just,
Yes.
it's never too late. There's a lot of people who feel like, they got into a stage in life and maybe I should have done it then. No, every day that you draw a
Right.
breath is like a new day of being born, because you
Yep.
were dead when you were asleep, and then you opened your eyes and you were alive again. It's like being born. Wake up
Yeah.
like you got a fresh start, even if some of the residual stuff is still there, and you take that step with a new sense of purpose, knowing the direction you want to go, and just know, look, I'm gonna dot every I and cross every T that I can. But beyond that, I have to let it go once I've gotten to that place. So yeah, that's an awesome, awesome story. And it's been a wonderful experience. And I'm very
Mhm.
grateful for it.
I tell you, I just and I've been to Atlanta a few times, but never have been able to go to the studio. It just hasn't happened. But one of these
Mm,
days,
not
I'm
yet.
gonna go there
Yeah.
and see.
Oh yeah. I'm sure
I
I'm
definitely
sure
have
your
to.
opportunity will come.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sure it'll happen.
yeah, I've got to. That's one of those on my list. What I call the live list. My live list
Right.
to go to see that for sure. But I know
There you
too, you
go.
are working on different. This is you have other projects. I don't know if you can really talk about them or go into any details as to.
Well, I mean, I've worked on some other stuff. Even during the pandemic, we did a really cool creative piece, uh, um, called Life in Lemons, and it was an opportunity to do a short, and we did it with mask and during the pandemic, and it's gotten into some festivals, and we just had fun being creative. My buddy, D. Elliott Woods, had wrote a piece, and it was just a great opportunity to keep going with that. But while I was working on Has, I had the pleasure of working on this show called Preacher, which has which was shot in New Orleans, and I was actually there doing Mardi Gras, which was just awesome. Because of the
Oh,
storm that was approaching, they flew me in a whole week early, so I got a chance to just be there doing Mardi Gras before I even started shooting, which was really
okay.
cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
had
and I
you
got a chance to work with Ruth Nega from Loving.
okay. Have you
I'm sorry.
was that your first time going to Mardi Gras? Was that
That
your
was my first. That was my first time going to Mardi Gras, but I've been to New Orleans
okay?
quite a few times for the Bayou
Uh-huh.
Classic, and
Hmm.
different things like that, and just hanging out down there for the Essence Festival quite a few
Hmm.
times, and
Right.
it's just yeah, I love New Orleans. It's a great city, great people.
It is. It is. We went
Yeah.
2 years ago. We didn't go. We weren't going last year, but 2 years ago we went, and it was. I'd never been to Mardi Gras. I always went to
Uh,
experience it. I think everyone should go.
Yeah.
That's
Just once. I found that, I love the Mardi Gras because you get to see the true culture of New Orleans. But I
Mhm.
had so much fun, at Essence and Bayou Classic back in the day. But yeah, Mardi Gras is an experience. It's just like something you see and you go, wow, this really happens here. This is so cool.
Yes.
It's like it's like being in a different country almost. It's a whole. It really has a vacation feel to it when you're out there and
Mhm.
everybody's just sitting in a celebratory kind of mood, and everybody's happy and celebrating and partying and eating, and it's just a great kind of vibe,
Mhm.
to experience at least once. So yeah, I agree
I
with
think
you on
so.
that.
Literally the whole city parties. That's what I tell anybody. The
The
entire
whole city, the entire city. It's
everybody.
wonderful. You should,
I know.
yeah,
We're gonna have to go
absolutely.
back. We went. That was one. Like I said, we went to the Zulu ball there. I'd never been to that either. That was something that.
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
because as a matter of fact, the Zulu ball, I think Lettucey was performing at one of those balls, and her
Oh,
husband and
okay.
I, Ron, we're friends, and he was telling me about it. I didn't get a chance to go either, so I'm with you on that. I would like to see what that's all about. Sounded really cool though.
Oh, it's a lot. It's so many people. I'd never seen so many people dressed in ball gowns and tuxedos. I don't think ever in my life, ever. There was that. It was just thousands.
Amazing, right?
It was amazing. You couldn't get in if you didn't have a tuxedo and a formal. That was the requirement to go into that. And I
That's
thought,
as it
what
should
is
be. I mean, because I think we need
Yeah,
those things, right?
we do. We do. So I did one of these days, go back one of these days.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Well, I know too, travel too, right? I
I'm
never
sorry.
did. Do you like to travel? Do you like to travel?
I love to travel. Oh my goodness. And I so like there's just trips on my list, that I'm ready to go. I mean, I've been, like I want to do far now. I'm ready to go to the Philippines, not the Philippines, what is it? Mm, where you have the cabins over the water. Where is that? That's
Oh, Tahiti.
Tahiti. Yes. I'm ready
Uh-huh.
for one of those hut vacations where you just
Hmm.
surrounded by crystal clear water, and you just have your
Yeah.
little cabin, and you can just wake up and dive right into the, oh, come on, what's
Oh.
better than that? What's better than that? I want to wake up, walk out to the edge, and dive
Mhm.
in. I mean, that's
Oh.
definitely something I want to do, but I also want to do, a trip to Africa. Is definitely on my list. Ghana, uh, uh, and from there, we'll see. I definitely want to go to Egypt, um,
Okay.
but Ghana right now is a place that I see quite a few people leaving this country,
Yeah.
and moving to. So I'm like, let me go see what's going on, and
Yeah.
we'll see. Yeah,
They
so
are
that's
building
that's on my
homes
list.
there. It is amazing what's
Yeah,
happening.
beautiful,
Hmm.
absolutely. So yeah, that's
And
definitely something I'm looking into at some point in the future.
I would highly recommend it. I've been to Ghana, but that was before the influx. Now, what's going on now,
Right.
the Come to Ghana movement.
Sure.
But Ghana is beautiful, though. Well,
Yeah.
Africa is beautiful. Period. To be honest with you, it really
Right.
is beautiful. It's beautiful. And I
Absolutely.
was only in one little,
Absolutely.
country. It's huge, but
Right.
if you ever
For
get
the
opportunity,
continent, and it's just
mhm, it's an opportunity to if you get a chance. Like you said, you want to see Egypt,
absolutely.
pyramids.
Yes. Yes. And I want to. And really, that's a family trip. I want my younger boys to be able to see these things, and be able to see our heritage, and what our lineage and our bloodline runs through, and what runs
Hmm.
through us. And I think that's always been, going back to your history background. We understand that when people know, like, when if our history was taught to us, and our history was from the moment we touched first grade and second grade, when we started learning about
Hmm.
history, had we known how far and how deep our roots run, self-esteem would be different in this country. Sense
Oh
of
yeah.
self would be different. And a sense of justice would be different because you don't really start to become truly, truly angry until you start to really understand how diabolical certain things are in order to put you in the place that you happen to be in terms of your sense of self.
Right.
We're talking about, Mr. Perry, and overcoming homelessness. We're talking about people overcoming the obstacles. Whenever you speak of our people, you speak of overcoming something,
Mm-hmm.
overcoming, really tough odds, where you grew up and the school
Right.
system and all of these different things. And all of these things happen because in a real way, there was a true lack of knowledge, which is why, slaves weren't allowed to read. There's knowledge in there. And with knowledge comes power. And the way you handicap someone is you keep them from gaining knowledge and you distract them. And I feel like, they have other ways of doing that now. And we have to fight off certain distractions and things that are constantly kind of aimed at our younger generation, our children, and we have
Right.
to do our best to just keep them on course because the key
Mm-hmm.
is making sure they have a certain level of knowledge so that when they look in the mirror, they have a sense of who they are and what they come from, not just where, but what
Right.
it is that we are and what we come from and why that's to be respected and why that's
Mm-hmm.
to be, revered because it is a blessing. Our very skin, our very melanin is a superpower and it's an amazing blessing that we've been given.
Mm-hmm.
And we shouldn't take it lightly. We shouldn't want to change the complexion of it. We shouldn't want to change anything about it. Everything about us is just beautiful from our
It
complexion to
is.
the size of our lips, to no matter how big, no matter how small.
This one.
What
Yeah.
that melanin is your birthright and it is your gift. And if you truly understood that you had a true superior advantage in connection to the universe just by virtue of that, it's something that we would respect and kind of want to preserve within ourselves. And I think that would keep us more in a connective state than the separate
Right.
state that unfortunately we find ourselves in 2020, 2021.
Well, what would you say to any young person that, because now we have so many things going on in our society. Um, People give up,
Hmm.
people,
Absolutely.
lose faith. They want to believe, but they get tired. What do you say to that person who has dreams
We
that
all
they,
get tired. Yeah.
yeah, that they want to fulfill and they just give up?
I think that I think transparency among successful people or people that are viewed with success is really
Mhm.
helpful. I mean, sometimes we don't really find out certain things until that person releases a book, which I understand. But sometimes when we're in the course of just having a conversation, what I would explain to them is that feeling that they have, you
Mhm.
know, comes through a filter
Mhm.
of everything that they've experienced prior. It comes through what they didn't get. It
Mm.
comes through what they received too much of. It comes
Mm.
through um, all the doubts that were poured into them based on someone else's fear. And it's also based on what's around you and who you surround yourself with or who you find yourself surrounded by.
Right.
And so it's not to judge. What it is to take an honest look at the things that are around you, the things
Mhm.
that you feel about yourself, and you have to ask yourself, why am I here? Why do I feel this way? And then
Mm.
understand that a lot of those things were poured into you. They had nothing to do with how you were made and who you were meant to be. And
Mhm.
if you can hold on to that discovery and that journey, there's more in it that will fulfill you than being consumed by what others say you are or what others think of you and so forth. You won't care how many likes you get on Facebook or Instagram. What
Mhm.
you will care about is, am I being true to my journey? Am I being honest in my message about where I'd
Mm.
like to see this go? So I would tell them to just trust yourself. That voice you hear in your head, that's God.
Mhm.
That's God. It may sound like your voice. It may sound like a voice you've never heard. It may sound like someone whispering. Even if you say, I don't believe in God, that's fine. Believe in yourself. Believe enough in yourself that you're still here another day for a reason, not to suffer more, but to have an opportunity to move out of your suffering. to have an opportunity to move closer to what your dreams are. That's why you
Mm-hmm.
woke up this morning, because the universe is saying, hey, you know what? I'm gonna wake you up tomorrow, and tomorrow I want you to really take another step towards moving closer to that goal. So yeah, when you get
Mm-hmm.
frustrated, acknowledge it. Journal about it, write about it, so that you
Right.
can look at it and see your thoughts on paper and say, look what I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking. Look how I'm thinking. Because so a man or woman thinketh, so he is
So
or she is.
yep,
So if you're
that's right.
thinking I'm a success, you're a success just by virtue of your mind. You're a success because you
Mm.
understand that the fact that I woke up healthy during a pandemic,
Right.
I'm successful. Let me start
Yeah.
with that. If that's not enough to get you hyped enough to take another step forward, in spite of all the trials, of all the things that people that are telling you none of those things are true that you want to believe,
Right.
you can prove it to yourself. Prove it to yourself, and everything else will follow. Just constantly prove things to yourself. If you can prove it to yourself, other people will see it. But if you're
Mm-hmm.
constantly focused on, I need this person to see it, I need that person to see it,
Right.
and they're the people that's immediately around you, then perhaps the people around you are not empowering you. And you might want to just not necessarily cut a person out your life. It's not about that. But sometimes we give over way too much energy and way too much allowance. We put way too much stock in
Mm-hmm.
people that don't necessarily empower us. So I would just say protect your dreams. Be
Right.
protective. You don't
Right.
share everything with everyone. What you share is with what a person allows you to feel safe sharing. So don't give
Right.
up. Believe in
Mm-hmm.
yourself. The more you know, the more you seek knowledge in your craft, the more you're willing to do the work, the further you can have the opportunity to go. Because that's the thing. There's no shortcuts. I mean, somebody may just see your face and go, "Hey, I want you for this show," but it's your
Right.
belief in yourself that'll allow that show to be a success. You know, and
Oh
continue to
my
work on
goodness.
your craft. So I mean, I would just tell them to be honestly, to do this, you
Mm-hmm.
want to become more and more connected within yourself, because it's going to take that. That's what's going to sustain you. It may not, and ultimately, like I said, even if something happens fast, what will
Right.
sustain you is working towards connection. And that allows you to connect on the spiritual realm, that allows you to just have unlimited amount of support
Mm-hmm.
from the
I'm telling
universe.
you, I'm listening. You're
And the
you're.
universe is undefeated.
That's what, I'm sitting here listening. I
The
said, you're
universe is
encouraging me.
undefeated.
That's true. That is
Well,
true.
honestly, I'm going to write a book one day. I'm in the courses of like just kind of taking notes down now, but people wouldn't believe, like, the journey I've had is book worthy. If for no other reason, it will empower people to go, wait a minute, just a year before he was on, Tyler
Mm-hmm.
Perry show, just a year and a half before that, I was on my deathbed. A lot of people don't know that, but I'm not gonna,
No.
I'm not even. I'm gonna shit. I was sick as a dog, because I'm asthmatic, and I have sarcoidosis, which is a lung condition. It's a lot like
Mm.
lupus. And so,
Uh-huh.
when I found out that I was dealing with that, I suddenly
Uh-huh.
seemed like everything that I wanted. Mind you, I hadn't booked this show yet. I hadn't at the time, didn't even have an agent. So just understand that I went from being on pretty much my deathbed, not having
Uh-huh.
an agent, not having a manager, to a year later, year and a half later, I'm on Tyler Perry, the have and the have
Mm.
nots, you know. And so I could have given up. I could have
Yeah.
said, at this point in my life, I'm sick. My asthma's, my lungs are really, failing me. But
Right.
what it did was it taught me, like, it just, a voice was like in my head just saying, it's not over. It's not
Oh.
over. Let's go.
Mhm.
And I just became committed to my health. I was always in sports, but I became committed to my health and my wellness. And what that entailed was changing the way I did a lot of things, and you
Mhm.
know, um, just being more strict, and holding myself much more accountable for what I say I want out of life. And I just
Mhm.
started to see, as I trusted in that, I started to see steps. Within, that was 2016. So by 2017, I had a manager. And honestly, Tyler Perry, when I got a manager, I had one audition. Then she got me an agent. Tyler Perry was my Halves was my second audition
You're kidding.
after having no agent and being sick as a dog. So I say all that to say that, there is nothing you cannot do. You have to know that in order to take those steps and keep taking them. And I think that what happens is that was one of those moments where the universe tapped me on my shoulder. It said, look, it's going to require this. Can you do it? And like I said, I did the work. Universe took care of the rest. So right now is another time when the universe is tapping a lot of us on our shoulders, going, okay, there's no work out there right now really happening. What are you going to work on while this is going on? And I took this opportunity to continue to work on my diet. I'm now pescatarian, pretty much vegetarian. And I haven't felt better in my life than I feel right now. My health is so in such a good place. I feel amazing because I stopped eating meat. It's just been the best decision I've made. And I went kicking and screaming, by the way. I love barbecue. I love cooking. I love doing all of that.
Right.
But I promise you, I don't even miss it. After the way I feel at this stage takes over, it supersedes anything. I could go by anywhere and smell anything. I don't miss it because what I feel ultimately, and I think that that's what we have to do. Because you know how you'll take a step forward in something, and then you'll start second guessing it and wondering if you're making the right decision, and maybe I'm all in my head and I'm really not doing anything. That's not you. That's all your fears kind of just pop-ups around your head. They're just there for you to refute and go, no, I've never felt better in my life. Okay, on to my, broccolini, or on to my spinach and quinoa. Like, it's about life changing, and it's. I'm grateful that if nothing else, because we're not always grateful for the trials that we go through, but my God, please be grateful that you're able to get through them. It's the fact that you got through it, the fact that you made it through that is the testament to, like, there's no limit. And so I'm learning this too as I go along. So I'm sharing with you what I'm learning. If I'd have came in the game knowing this, who knows? But this is what I'm learning now, and I promise you, I'm grateful for it.
Well, I tell you, you sound too. I don't know if you saw the comment. It said, number one, they said, write your book. I don't know if you saw it. Came on.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that, and I will. Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Oh, yeah, they put it back up. Is Amir? Amir said to write your book. They want you to know that. Did you have to go on and print that?
Thank you, Amir. And I promise you I will. I really received that because, again, what they say, if two or more agree, it's all you need. Like, people keep worrying about how many likes. You 2 or more. Who you gonna believe? I'm gonna go with the universe. You go with all them likes. 2 or more. You and one other person. I agreed that I was an actor. Mr. Perry agreed that I was Derek. And here we are. 2 people have to agree. That's it. But it starts with you. It doesn't matter what anyone else is going through.
Yeah.
It starts with you. So I'm proud of your journey, Mary, and what you're doing. I applaud you for your courage and your great energy that you bring to the table. And I just know that this is just the beginning, and I look forward to us reconvening when my book is done.
Yes,
and I get an opportunity to share that with you on your even larger platform that I'm sure will exist. And this has been great.
This is one of my cousins. She said, "Amen." I tell you, if it wasn't for family support, I don't know why.
Right.
They support me wholeheartedly. It means a lot. But I'll tell you, I'm not going to lie to you. I was nervous.
Yeah, and
this is scary for me. A comfort zone.
It's a nervous energy. It's nothing negative. It's just the unknown, right? It's the unknown. Like, we're stepping into a situation. We don't know what that situation is going to bring our way, but I think that we know our intention, and then we kind of revel in that intention, because I'm like, I'm going to be having a conversation with a really great person. That's how I felt. So I was already in a good mood as soon as we started, because I knew that this was something I could look forward to. So, I mean, that's just kind of how you have to approach it. And I learned that, there was a situation, and I don't mind ever sharing this story over and over because it's real. My first day on Halves, we're set up in the kitchen. My scene is where I enter, and I'm there to fix the sink. That's the first scene I did on Halves. And we're standing around the kitchen, and you know, I mean, like, Crystal was so gracious in that the day before we had a chance to run through it on our own, no one around, all of that to help me feel comfortable with the set and
Mm.
everything. No one was around. We did this. But when everybody was around and people were moving and it was everything, it's like it felt like all the fear, all the noise, everything that I could ever have worried about was right here in my ear. And in that moment, I said, "What am I doing? I'm out of my mind. What am I doing? What was I thinking?" This is a true story, and that's
Oh,
not even me, but that's what was going on. So understand this.
yeah, yeah.
So you know, he goes, "All right, you know, camera ready and
Mm-hmm.
action." And I said like maybe 3, 4 words, and he was like, "Hold." He was like, "Derek, come here." I was like, "Oh my God!" I said 3 words, and I'm about to lose my job. Because he could see what was going on. You know, he sees actors every day. He's looking at the camera. It's close up
Yeah,
on me. He's like, "Oh my God," he looks terrified. He said,
yeah.
"Come on over here." And he said, "What's?" He said, "You good, Derek?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Listen, I just need you to know one thing." He said, "Derek is a good guy, just like you." That's all I needed.
Yeah,
I just needed somebody to tell me that I was good that day. I didn't know that.
yeah.
I knew what I needed. Sometimes we don't know.
What
So then the
yeah.
universe says, "Tell him he's a good guy." That's all you got to
Um,
tell him. That was all the direction I needed. 48 episodes later, I never called for line one time. I never stopped in the middle of a scene. I never flubbed one line. I knew all my lines from 48 episodes straight. Because somebody told me one time, but it was the person who told me.
yeah.
So he could have made me or broke me possibly in that moment. And he chose to do something very, 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 you know, be very generous and say that to me. And I never looked back. I never looked back. And every day I came to set and I was excited.
Oh,
It
yeah.
empowered me. I couldn't wait to go for it, you know? And so it's just, you know, like as a matter of fact, I know you did you see the scene where Ty Lepley and I got into the fight?
Uh-huh.
Originally that scene was supposed to be shot 2 days later. So we hadn't even memorized it. We were in the car going over the scene together.
Uh-huh.
Uh, the whole crew's outside. There's 100 people outside in 90 to something degree Atlanta heat because he was like, "Well, we might as well finish it up and shoot that scene." I'm like, "Oh my God, we don't even have it completely off book yet." But okay, but trusting again, and I said all that to say, but because of
Mm-hmm.
that level of empowerment,
Right.
it gave me the confidence to
Yeah.
believe it could get done. And when I saw the finished product, I was like, if people only knew what we had to work with. We just that's the times when you do your best
Yeah.
and then you throw it out there and go, universe, catch. I did everything I can do. And the universe caught us. And I felt like the scene really played out the
Mm-hmm.
way it was written. And we
I tell
gave ourselves to it. And it was a great experience, you know. And that's another great working with that brother. You know, another very down to earth, just real cool people, you know, just
mm-hmm.
fun to be around and to work with. And I'm just, you know, excited to see all the new opportunity that he's able to take advantage of as well. Just really good people, Peter Peros, you know, Angela
Mm-hmm.
Robinson, all of these people, you know, Renee Lawless, you know, all of these people, really, really good people, really generous, very, very kind, and they were just really wonderful people to work around. Gavin, wonderful, just really great people. Tika, who I didn't have but one scene with throughout the whole run, but was really, really good people. You know,
I
just
think
great
I
people
saw
to
you
be
guys
around
together.
if you're going to be at a studio with a bunch of people.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, just good people. I mean, we just, and you know, and the amount of time that we were able to hang out, even besides work, and just enjoy ourselves, it was
Uh-huh.
just a great environment that they set up there. So, you know,
Oh,
I will always be grateful for that, for this experience. You know.
you know, to just from looking, I'm not been on set or anything like that. First, from the outside looking in, the cast seems to work well together. If there is anything other than that, it's not noticeable to us, the audience. It just seems to work like a well-oiled machine to me. Um, everything, you know,
Absolutely.
like you said, when you're doing a scene, what people don't know, that most of the jobs are behind the camera, not in front of the camera. And
Absolutely.
the bulk of, you have so many people. You have the writers, you have
Right.
so many people behind the scenes. Have you
Absolutely.
thought about doing your own productions, or are you a
Well,
writer?
actually, right now I have an opportunity that kind of fell into my lap, and it's a possibility of producing a documentary. I don't want to say too much about it right now, but when I kind of
Right.
know a little more about how I'm going to approach these things, it was a blessing. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's something I didn't even seek out. It just literally fell into my lap, and it would be. I want to just make sure that it can be done with the proper respect that it deserves.
Right.
But I'm really excited about that. And then, of course, like I said, my book about my journey. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that, part of giving back and part of just being an extension of the universe in the way that I feel my life has pushed me to be is I just hope I get the opportunity to work with younger people, to speak with younger people, and to just empower them and tell my story.
Right.
Because, like I said, when they hear my story, it'll resonate with their lives a lot. It'll resonate with things they've
Mm-hmm.
seen, things they've experienced, and things they've heard. And to know that, I've been able to persevere even through the trials that I go through, even now, I'm always encouraged because every day that I wake up, I'm like, okay, my journey's not done. So that's not my legacy, even though, there's so many things I could say, oh, I did this and this was great.
Right.
Ultimately, I know what I would like to leave as a legacy. And that would be that, through it all, through
Mm-hmm.
really tough beginnings and through trials and tribulations and through mistakes and just downright dumb decisions at times, I've somehow been sustained and I'm consistently encouraged to keep going. And for that, I'm eternally grateful because every day somebody leaves here that wanted
Whew.
to be here. So how dare me disrespect the very breath that I breathe by not being grateful for the breath that I have. So yeah, through it all, I'm just really encouraged, and I hope to continue to encourage others.
Well, you've been encouraging me. I'm gonna tell you. I'm sitting here. I feel like I'm about to jump. I am not kidding. I am getting empowered, encouraged. Just, there's nothing I can.
Yeah.
If I'm feeling that, I'm gonna tell you, it's definitely in you.
Hey, all right.
You're not just talking it, you're
It's in
living.
me, and I'm
Woo.
living it, and I think that gives me at least a platform to speak on it because I've experienced it.
Yeah.
Um, and just one more thing. This is kind of the double back, but just want the viewers to understand that about the well-oiled machine. Every scene that you see that's shot on halves is only one take. We do one take. They shoot all around. So there's cameras from every angle. We
Ah,
do one take of every scene. One. And
wow.
therefore, the level of focus that is required,
Mhm.
it's very important. It's very much shot like a soap opera, but we just shoot 3 times as many pages, essentially.
Right,
And
right.
the great thing that has done for me is allowed me to be able to take in information very quickly because and
Mhm.
also trust myself a lot more because it requires those things. It requires you to be able to snatch the page and know everything that's going on. It requires you to stay grounded in that, and then it also requires a level of trust for yourself and your partner that you're going to live it. And if you got a great partner like I had, and in those scenes, with those very generous actors, it's a cakewalk. Even though it is scary, a lot of days I was terrified because I was just like, "How are we gonna get all this?" But we do it, and then you go, "Man!" And I'm sure that that's the way his mind works, and that's why he's been able to have the level of success that he was able to have so quickly because he knows how to condense it and move quickly. And while that may not be everybody's formula for everything, when
Right.
in Rome, figure out how to speak Italian. You know,
Oh yeah.
or
Oh,
get a translator, which you can't do on set. So you might as well understand, you
this
know,
is yeah.
get it done. If you love what you do, you'll find a way. And I think that that's true with everything that we want in life. If you love it, if you're passionate about it, you will find a way. And I'm
And
rooting for you.
Elaine Wilson says, encouraging others is so powerful. That is what empowers yourself too. Thank you, Elaine. I'm gonna tell you, Elaine is a
Thank you,
fan.
Elaine.
I don't think she's missed one of our episodes.
That's awesome.
So I definitely
That's
think.
well, I mean, you honestly, you have it's a great energy that you're working with here, and it's worthy to continue and grow with it because I've really enjoyed this, hour. It flew by. And a lot of the things that came out of me, I had no set anything. I was just we're gonna roll with it. That's what we said. And this was
Yeah,
just like, really a true conversation, but one that people can watch over and over and be inspired by, because that's what we should be. Our goal should be to leave the room better than you found it.
right,
Don't come into a room and leave it worse, unless that was your true intention, and
right,
God help you with that. But
right.
try to leave the room better than you found it.
I
Sometimes you may
love
not feel like it, but just it'll bless you by giving you energy, just by giving someone else energy. Sometimes somebody else is having a day and they show it, but you may be having that same day and you don't show it.
right.
Here's your opportunity to speak to yourself. Tell them what you want someone to tell you. And then when you see how it makes them feel, you'll live vicariously and it will empower you. I promise you that.
And I do believe. Oh, this is from Nancy. Said yes. Keep on pushing, Mary. Thank you, Keith, for your humility and willingness to share. Thank you. You guys are so
Thank
sweet.
you. It's my pleasure.
It's so
It's my
kind.
I share in gratitude to the just for the blessings of just life, and everything else is a bonus. So it is my pleasure. It is my honor.
All right. I tell you. Well, I know too, Keith. You, like you said, you have the documentary that you're working on. That's for sure. Are you a
Yes.
writer? You a writer also?
I don't consider I have ideas, but I haven't written films like in the terms of like I'm gonna write a film. But there's so many stories, and the crazy thing is my life has been so full in a lot of
Hmm.
ways. And so I can take some of those experiences that I'm glad I've overcome and write
Right.
about them. I mean, I have so much at my disposal. And it's like you're trying to quiet the noise down, stay in what's happening right now. But you're right. Like it's about putting those things down. And that's why I've started this book, because it's like, let's just start from the beginning and see where you land. Just talk about it a little bit more as it comes to you. And then someone else can always edit and kind of put it together in context. Your job is to tell the story. And so I'm empowered now that I've been in this game as an actor for so long, and I'm seeing movement and blessings behind it. Now I have to have that same level of faith, not just to continue with that, but to be open to other opportunities and entertainment as well. So you will definitely see more from me, God willing, as I take my next breath in the future.
Well, for sure. Well, I can tell you, we are gonna unfortunately have to end the show or wrap it up. But will you come back again? Do you promise to come back again?
I certainly will. Yeah, oh, of course. Yeah, we'll definitely do this again, and I'll have
Okay.
something new, something fresh, to share and share with everybody, and it'll be a wonderful time. But I'm here, Mary. I'm
Oh,
here, so
thank you.
we're
We
good.
want to thank you, not just from me, but from the people we
My
don't
pleasure.
audience out there. We want to thank you for coming, Keith, and spending this time with us. And just let you know, we really do enjoy the work that you do, and you are a blessing. You are
Thank
such
you.
a blessing. Just so you know, um, I'm just grateful to know you. I really am. So thank you for being
Wow.
on the Mary D. Welch show, and I'll be looking for you to come back, especially when the book comes out. You got to come back.
Absolutely. Oh,
Yeah.
we talked about it here, so we have to do it. So I'll keep
All
you
right.
posted, and I'll be checking in. So I'll let you know as soon as I know.
All right. Thanks, and I'll see you soon,
All right,
lady.
Mary. Take care.
Oh, you too. God
All
bless.
right. God bless.
Ladies, gentlemen, that's our show for today. I'd like to thank you for coming out. We really do appreciate it. We've been blessed with Mr. Burke coming and just spending some time with us. And I can't thank you enough. Oh, Nancy said, bye, bye, Nancy. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for spending time with us today. I was empowered by the show. I was sitting here, I felt like I could fly. I had to calm myself down. But thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless each and every one of you. I love you, and I look forward to seeing you next Monday. Bye-bye.